What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's Thursday. I think it's Thursday. Thursday was good. I'm back to do another story time. I guess this is like episode 9. I've been reading from Richard Kadrey's Sandman Slim, which if you haven't seen any of the other episodes, Sandman Slim is like Keanu Reeves Constantine, Supernatural. Our hero, James Stark, kind of has a Dean Winchester vibe about him. But Sandman Slim is kind of like this noirish horror comedy story that pulls from a whole bunch of different influences. James Stark is a sort of anti-hero who was sent to hell by his friends in a power grab, and he spent 11 years there working his way up to assassin for one of the lords of hell, and then finally escaped to home to Los Angeles so he could execute some pretty violent revenge on his friends who sent him to hell, which I guess is something that we all would like to do if we were sent to hell by our friends. I don't know. I haven't been to that one yet, so not sure how I would handle that. The idea for these episodes is pretty straightforward. I can't see the comments from where I am on the phone. Once I'm done recording, I'll interact with anything that's there. But otherwise, it's really, I don't think of this as sort of an interactive thing. If you tune in for a few minutes and it's enough to take your mind off of whatever it is that you've been thinking about, I think that's a success. I don't know about you guys, but in light of all of this stuff that's been going on, I've been very anxious and I have a hard time sleeping at night. And so what I do when I can't sleep is I get up and go somewhere else and read. And I thought maybe sharing that as episodes would be helpful to other people. It's certainly helpful to me. So I definitely enjoy this. So tonight we'll pick back up with Sandman Slim. We're up to page 124. He just got medical care for one of his friends that he met at Max Overdrive Video from a doctor who treats magical people with magical injuries, and met Jade, which is a monster I was never familiar with until I read this, who may have the hots for him. So, he's making friends, treating wounds. Things are happening. Let's see how that goes. So, Richard Kadrey, Sandman Slim. Let's read. When Alice and I got together, I wasn't the only one with secrets. One night, after a particularly long evening of bruising sex on the couch in our unair-conditioned living room, she blurted out, "I'm rich!" What? I'm filthy, balls out, stinking rich. My whole family is, though they probably disinherited me by now. So you might be rich, but you're not sure. Oh no, I'm rich. Even if they forget all about me, I have a trust fund worth more than some Central American countries. I sat up and reached for the coffee that had gone cold on the table. You do not. I'm in the DAR. I have my grandmother's gold rings and diamonds in a safe deposit box. Hell, I own a tiara. And you've never worn it to bed? You're holding out on me. She locked onto me with her serious face. I always had to shut up when she used the serious face. I never told a boyfriend about any of this before. You're the first. Why me? She hit me in the stomach, half joking, half annoyed. I almost spilled coffee all over the couch. She said, "I love you, ass brain. I want you to know all about me." You already know all about me. My family doesn't have any money, but I can make good fried chicken steak. Chicken fried steak. That's the right order of those words. She sat up on one elbow. Why aren't you rich? Why aren't all magicians rich? I shrugged and lay down beside her. Partly it's keeping under the radar, partly it's tradition, a sort of code or something, I guess. What's cool about being rich if you do it by reciting a few words? Most rich sub-ros are connected to some kind of legit business. The rest of us just skate by. We just use magic to cut some corners, and that's the point. I'm not rich, but I know I'll never starve because I can order a burrito and make the counterperson think I've already paid. Aim high, dude. I kissed her hard and she crawled on top of me. So when do we get to go blow your grandma's money on drugs and hookers? Well, that's the tricky part. Grandma was old money. Old money hates rich kids, even rich grandkids. I don't get a dime until I'm 30. 30? That's geologic. That's Jurassic Park. Anyone can make it to 30 if they're not a complete dipshit. That's the deal. We're rich, and all we have to do is make it to 30. I looked away, playing it straight. It's a long way off. I don't like making big promises. Alice sat up on me. No, you have to. Promise me. Hey, I'm kidding. Promise me. Okay, I promise not to die until I'm 30. Happy now? Almost. And you can't die first. Jesus, where is this coming from? My parents. Say it. I grabbed her arms in my hands and held her tight. I won't die first. I'll live to be 100 and leave card tricks and Japanese cartoon porn on your grave every year on your birthday. Happy now? Completely, she said and smiled. So, when can you bring that tiara home? I've never tied up a DAR girl before. Parker killed Alice a month before she turned 30. At least I got to keep part of my promise. I didn't die first. Allegra's apartment is on Kenmore Avenue, just south of Little Armenia. Her building is a converted 70s-era motel called the Angel's Hideaway. Dying palm trees out front and a pool full of black water out back. The management knocked down half the interior walls, turning 2 dingy motel rooms into dingy but decent-sized apartments. They'd either hired the laziest contractors possible or real-style visionaries because they'd left the orange shag carpet on the floor and the glitter stucco on all the walls. Allegra's keys are in her pocket. She's walking now, but kind of clumsy. I pickpocket her keys, open the door, and find the light switch. There's a dark green sofa against one wall. She walks over on her own and flops down, leaning her head back against the wall. Do you want anything? Water? Coffee? A drink? She shakes her head. I want a cigarette. Badly. But the room reeks of fresh air and non-smoking vibes. I give up and sit down next to her on the sofa. You said I'd be safe if I stayed. I thought you would, I tell her. You should have been. I fucked up. I'd meant to get Vidocq to splash around some of his voodoo water and slap a protection charm around the place, but I got so caught up with hunting Mason that I forgot. Simple as that. I let down my guard with Mason before and Alice got killed. Now I'm sitting next to another woman I've let down. It's my fault. Now I really want a cigarette. Or 10. Sorry. She closes her eyes and seems to drift away, still flying high on whatever Kinski slipped her in that dried fruit. Her breathing becomes shallow, her heart slows down. Then it blasts from around 60 up to 120. She looks at me and starts yelling. My boss's head was talking to me without a body, but when I told you, you didn't even seem surprised. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, that. Suddenly I'm a single dad about to explain the birds and the bees to his kid. Do you believe in God? Damn. First you say you're an ex-con and now you're Jerry Falwell. Who are you really? Do you believe in God? Lucifer? The afterlife? Any of that? I don't know. My mother used to take me to church when I was little. Remember the stories about miracles, water into wine, plagues of locusts? Of course, everyone remembers that. About when all the rules and commandments got boring, someone would walk on water or turn a city into salt. It was cool, so what? What's a miracle but another word for magic? Don't quiz me. Just say what you want to say. Magic. I'm talking about magic. Oh man. She stands up, walks across the room, and drops into a beanbag chair held together at the seams with duct tape. You know, when I first met you, the ex-con thing aside, I thought you might be all right. But you really are just another snake, aren't you? I mean, either you're here to scam me or fuck me while I'm high, or you're just plain crazy. Any way you cut it, goddamn. Me and men. Her voice trails off and she sinks into the chair, nervously rubbing at the bruise over her left eye. You just told me that the decapitated head of your dead boss was talking to you tonight. What do you call that? How do you know so much about that stuff? I do magic. Not Vegas magic. Real stuff. You're like a witch or a wizard or something? Harry Potter's a wizard. I do magic. I'm a magician. This is a really strange night. Wait, it gets better. Kasabian's a magician too. So is Parker. He's the guy I'm pretty sure attacked you tonight. She sits up and looks at me hard. Do something. Show me some magic. What do you want to see? What will convince you? Blow my mind. Make the table float in the air. I'm not a floater. I used to be able to do that cute stuff, but most of the magic I'm good at now isn't furniture friendly. So what can you do? I think for a minute and pull Azazel's knife from my jacket. Allegra's pupils dilate a fraction of a millimeter. I'm getting used to seeing these things. Here, it's for you. I hold the knife out to her, hilt first. She takes it tentatively, holding it with both hands like it weighs 50 pounds. What am I supposed to do with this? I go over to her, walking on my knees like a kid. Staying lower than the eye level of an opponent often has a calming effect on them. Maybe it will work on a nervous friend. When I'm at the foot of the beanbag chair, I hold up my left hand and say, "Try to stab me." She cocks her head to the side like she's trying to figure out if her cat suddenly started speaking French. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. It's okay. Don't hold back. I know you're pissed at me. Let me have it. She just stares down at the knife in her hands. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the knee walk made me look too silly to stab. There's a way to fix that. I lean right into her face and scream, "Stab me, damn it!" as loud as I can. She lunges and jabs the knife all the way through my left hand. "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," she says, covering her mouth with her hands. What most people don't understand about being hard to kill is that just because getting shot or stabbed or set on fire doesn't kill you, it doesn't mean that you don't feel it. When someone shoves a big knife through your hand, it feels like anybody else's hand getting stabbed. This is a nice way of saying that when Allegra pigsticks me with the bone blade, I want to scream like a little French girl and roll around on my back, demanding 1,000 cc of Jack Daniels stat. But I don't do any of that. I calmly pull the knife out of my hand. I wipe the blood off on my pants leg. I don't want to piss her off more by bleeding on her carpet. Allegra finds a couple of paper napkins next to a half-eaten sandwich on a plate on the floor. She presses the napkins hard against the hole in my hand. "Thanks. You're being nice for someone who thinks I'm crazy or a snake." "Shut up. Now I know you're too dumb to be a snake. You're probably too stupid to be crazy. I don't know what you are." "I'm magic," I say. I pull the napkin away from my hand and wipe off the last of the blood. The wound is already closed. She shrugs. "That just makes you a freak, not the Wizard of Oz. Or maybe it was a trick knife. Tough crowd at the Angel's Hideaway. Go get one of yours." She goes to the kitchen, rattles some drawers, and comes back with a hefty butcher's knife. Nice. She's getting into the spirit of things. "Now what?" she asks. "Try to stab me again." What is wrong with you? If you want a girl to hurt you, there are professionals in the phone book for that. I hold up the hand she just stabbed. "One more time. Come on, have fun with it. Most people don't live long enough to do this twice." I don't have to shout this time. She shoves the blade straight into my hand, but it sticks there, only about 1/8 of an inch into the skin. There's no blood at all. She keeps trying to push the knife through, really starts leaning on it. I have to take the knife out of her hand and set it on the floor. She takes my hand and examines it, looking for blood or a new wound, and all she finds is a fresh red scar from where she stabbed me a couple of minutes ago. My whole body is kind of magic. Once you attack me in a certain way, it doesn't really work all that well again. So no one can ever stab you again? I wish. The new scar you gave me just means that this hand is protected from being stabbed like that. Is that what all those scars are from, getting stabbed? That and other things. Kasabian shot me when I walked into his store, so I have some new ones from him. It's not so bad. Some people wear a crucifix or a pentagram for protection. I wear my protection right in my skin. Talking heads and magic scars. That's not what I thought magic would be like. Allegra's looking a little pale right now, and I don't think it's the concussion. My little magic show might have gone too far, too fast for her. I root around in my memory for magic that doesn't involve anything blowing up. I come up with half a little spell. Something I would have done at lunch in grade school. I've always been lucky at making partial spells work, so I silently recite the words I remember and then tack on my own ending. Careful to recite only human words and not the hellion that keeps trying to sneak out. Nothing happens. Then I feel a fluttering in my chest, like the old days on Earth when the magic was flowing. I hold up my stabbed hand and blow across the fingertips. 5 yellow flames flicker to life, one on top of each of my fingers. Candles made of flesh. The fire is real, but it doesn't burn me. I take a cigarette from the pack in my pocket and light one off my index finger, blowing the smoke up into the air. Allegra glances from me and back to the flames, her eyes wide and staring. She reaches over my burning fingertips and snatches her hand back a second later. "It's hot." "That's why they call it fire." "Put up your hand," I tell her, palm toward me. She holds up her right hand. I touch my hand to hers and say a few words. The flames drift down my fingertips over to hers. "Blow on your fingers lightly." She does it. The flames disappear. "Do it again, only blow harder this time." She puffs her cheeks and blows. The flames reignite. I can feel it. It's warm, but it doesn't hurt. Blow really hard. The flames flare from 1 to 6 inches. The moment she stops blowing, they shrink back to birthday candles. Is that magic enough for you? Yeah, I'd say that covers it. I blow lightly on her fingertips and the flames fade away. Now you've got a little charm on your hand, and you can do the fire trick anytime you want. So next time you start doubting, you'll know what you're seeing is real because part of you is magic too. She stares at her unburned hand for a minute. Tell me about Mr. Kasabian's head. Is he dead? Did you do that to him? No to the first question, and yes to the second. Tell me about it. For the second time tonight, I'm confessing my sins. This time it's easier because it's not just my bad moments, but also Mason's, Kasabian's, and the rest of the circles. Plus, I'm lying. Just a little. I tell her that Mason sold me out, sent me to a dark and rotten place. I just leave out hell and the hitman part. So that guy tonight, Parker, he killed your girl? She asks. That's what Kasabian said. Damn. Was Mr. Kasabian in on it? He's too much of a jellyfish for murder, and he's too afraid of me to lie about it, but he was there for the rest of it. I'd have cut off more than his head if he'd done that to me or mine. Then you know why I'm back. You're Clint Eastwood and the outlaw Josie Wales. Max von Sydow in Virgin Spring. I don't know who that second one is, but if he was out to fuck up the people who fucked up someone he cared about, then yeah, okay, I'm Max. And that's why I'm leaving. You're giving up? No, I'm leaving Max Overdrive. I'll crash with the meth heads in Griffith Park. I'm too dangerous to be around actual human beings. I should have left that first night. No way. No damn way, says Allegra. I'm in. In what I'm doing? No. She crawls off the beanbag chair and sits beside me on the floor. Listen, I've been looking for something extraordinary my whole life, but I keep getting it wrong. I ended up in bad places with bad people, bad drugs, bad lovers, and a lot of other bad shit I don't want to think about. But this right here, this is it. You're it. The thing I've been looking for all my life. I want in. Tough. I didn't come back here to be your guidance counselor. Yes, you did. That's exactly what you're here for. Maybe not the whole reason, but part of it. You're not a killer, and you don't have any magic. You manage a video store. So teach me. Teach you what? I could show you a few tricks, but when it comes to the hardcore fuck you up magic, you're born with that, or you aren't. What about your friend Vidoc? He's an alchemist. It's not the same thing. I could learn that. You could have died tonight. I don't care. I am not dragging you into this. You already did, and you'll take me along because you need me. I didn't say anything. I get up so that I'm standing right over her. Earlier, I'd set the bone blade beside me on the floor. I pick it up and scabbard it inside my jacket. For 11 years, I've been worked over and abused in ways you can't imagine by things you don't want to know about. I've killed every kind of vile, black-souled, dead-eyed nightmare that ever made you piss your PJs and cry for mommy in the middle of the night. I kill monsters, and if I wanted, I could say a word and burn you to powder from the inside out. I can tear any human you've ever met to wet rags with my bare hands. Give me one reason why I could possibly need you. She looks straight up at me, not blinking, no fear in her eyes. Because you might be the Tasmanian devil and the angel of death all rolled into one, but you don't even know how to get a phone. I hate to admit it, but she has a point. Late afternoon the next day, I knock on Vidoc's door, which I still can't help thinking of as my door, which makes my brain spin around like a blender full of ball bearings. Fortunately, I'm good at ignoring a lot of what my brain does. Beside me, Allegra bounces on the balls of her feet. She's wearing shiny boots with thick soles and a belly-revealing t-shirt tight enough to have been spray-painted on. Probably because I told her that Vidoc is French. She looks cute enough, but one side of her face still sports a dark purple bruise and her cheeks and jaw are a little puffy, so she's also trying to distract people's eyes from her face to her body. It's working. She's doing a lot better than me. I crashed at her place to keep an eye on her. All I can tell you is to never fall asleep on a beanbag chair. My back feels like someone beat me with a pillowcase full of tuna fish cans. Vidoc opens the door and does a comical little eyebrow raise. There you are. And you've brought a friend. Allegra puts out her hand and gives Vidoc a smile that would make a dead man swoon. I'm Allegra, she says, Stark's new zookeeper. I'm Francois Eugene Vidoc. Lovely to meet you. She looks over his shoulder into the crowded room. Are all those books and potions yours? She steps past him into the room like she'd just bought the place. Vidocq turns and gives me a conspiratorial look. Forget it. Just a friend, I say. Then you are a very foolish boy. He nods at her, examining his ingredients racks. What happened to her face? Parker. Brave girl. Well, that's why I brought her here. If Parker knows who she is, then she's already part of this. But she's a civilian. She doesn't know any magic or charms or anything. You think you could teach her some of what you do? You want to trust her with me? After what I've done to myself? If she's on Parker's list, she could do worse than be cursed with immortality. And she needs something. I can't teach her what I do. I won't. What's this? Allegra asks. She holds a small vial up to the light. It's red, but it shimmers like mercury. That's the blood of a chimera, a rare beast that, it's said, can change its shape into anything it eats. It's also said that its blood can give a man that power too, but I've never been able to make it work. You have so many amazing and beautiful things here. I don't know how you can remember them all. The trick is not to try and remember. You learn what the ingredients are and how to use them, what to mix or never to mix. You learn how to distill the essence and find the true heart of each ingredient and potion. As you learn those things, you learn the names and the methods, which books are good for one type of potion, which instruments produce the best results. You don't try to remember, you just learn. And once you've done that, your hands will remember what to take and what to use and which books to open. She picks up a parchment scroll and opens it. It's a diagram of a woman's body, but she has wings and an eagle's head. There are diagrams and small, precise, handwritten notes all around the drawing. Still holding the scroll, Allegra asks, You can read Greek, too? Vidocq glances at the scroll and nods. German and Arabic, too, some Sumerian, a bit of Aramaic, and some others. There are so many books to read, and I've had a lot of time to fill. Do you think that I could learn this? Alchemy? Why not? People have been learning the craft for thousands of years. Why not you? Allegra looks over Vidocq's endless racks and picks up a crystal box with what looks like bugs moving around inside. What's this? Babylonian scarabs. Very powerful. Very wise. The old man goes off on a lecture of the virtues of these particular bugs above all others. Allegra hangs on every word of his spiel. I leave them alone and wander into the bedroom. They don't need me. It's geek love. The bedroom I used to share with Alice is now completely Vidocq's. The walls are painted a bright arsenic green and are covered with protective runes and sigils. The Goodwill and surplus store blankets are gone from the bed and replaced with a dark red velvet comforter and pillows that don't look like they were found under a dinosaur's ass. There are books everywhere, tins of fresh tobacco, bottles of sleeping potions, and bowls of hallucinogenic mushrooms. On a sideboard are framed pictures, fading ink silhouettes, a crumbling daguerreotype, and even a few faded photos. Most of the images are of women. He's never talked about any of them. I check the door of his closet and the shelf at the top. I look under the sideboard. I find what I'm looking for in a box under the bed. It's full of Alice's things, whatever things Vidocq could salvage from whatever happened to her that night. I know that the box will be safe to open. He wouldn't have saved anything with blood on it. But it still takes a minute to work up the nerve. There are neatly folded t-shirts on top, which is funny because I don't think Alice or I ever folded anything in our lives. Under those are her favorite shoes, a pair of glow-in-the-dark leopard-spotted Chuck Taylors. There are pesos and taxidermies, frogs, playing toy instruments we got on a road trip to Mexico. Tucked in a corner near the bottom is a pair of vintage Ray-Bans she'd hot-glued back together after a bouncer knocked them off her face for slamming too hard at a club in Culver City. These days, I would have pulled the guy's spine out through his ass, but I wasn't such a hands-on type back then. A simple Sumerian spell gave the bouncer the worst case of food poisoning you'd ever have in this or any other lifetime. When I piled it all on the bed, a small white box that had been stuffed in with the t-shirts fell out. When I opened it, I recognized the box instantly. It was that stupid magic shop box with the hole in the bottom and the fake bloody cotton inside, the one she'd used to show me that she could do magic too. I put the magic box in my pocket and the rest of her stuff back in the big box and carried it out into the living room. Allegra, and Vidocq are still talking inventory, but pause long enough to grin at me. Eugene says that I can be his apprentice and learn to be an alchemist. Congratulations. Just don't forget that we had a deal. I'm letting you into the other world, the Sub Rosa, but you still have to help me with a few things too. And you can't abandon Max Overdrive. It may not be much, but it brings in money, and unless things changed while I was gone, that's what makes the world go round. I'll remember. We'll go out tomorrow and get you a phone. And the internet. We need to get that, too. First thing, never say get the internet. You sound like the Beverly Hillbillies. You use the internet or you access it. You never get it. See? That's why I hired you. She turns to Vidocq. Don't listen to him. He didn't hire me. I blackmailed his ass. Is this true? He asks. Ignore her. She's a schizophrenic and a pathological liar. I only let her work at the shop to keep her from swindling widows and orphans. You just can't handle the truth, can you? And what's that, I ask her. That I totally made you my bitch. See? Not a word of truth can pass her lips. I take the box with Alice's things and go to the door. I don't know how long it'll take me to pay you for the Spiritus Day. I was going to bring that up. I know someone who can help with both the Spiritus Day and provide some work. Work that's more in line with your talents than your video store. The fellow's name is Munnin. Mr. Munnin. Why do I want extra work? I have a job. Killing Mason. And how is that money you stole from the man near the cemetery holding up? How much did that jacket and those boots cost you? Vidocq crosses to the window and pulls back the curtain. Clouds have softened the sunlight, but it's still all billboards, brown hills, and asphalt below. A couple of burly kids in baggy denim jackets are doing a brisk trade in what the buyers will be hoping is crack, but in this part of town is probably baking soda and plaster. Across the street, a couple of leathery-skinned old men are selling oranges and watermelons off the back of a pickup truck. They're probably illegals and new in town. They don't know which neighborhoods are profitable and which are dead zones. Or maybe the oranges and watermelons mafia muscled them out of their territory, and this is the best they could do. You see it, right? Even here, where there is very little, this is a world that runs on money. There's no arena here for you to fight in, no rich fallen angels to pay your bills. Fallen angels? Allegra asks. It's just an expression, I tell her. Turning back to Vidocq, I say, in case you hadn't noticed, I live in a store. Allegra runs the store. Stores bring in money. Allegra says, not really. What do you mean? The store's never really turned a profit. There's a Blockbuster and some other big chains just a couple of blocks away. The pouring keeps the doors open, but most of the real money came from Mr. Kasabian's bootleg business, and now that's gone. Stop calling Kasabian Mr. all the time. He doesn't deserve it. Out the window, the crack dealers are buying oranges from the old men in the truck. The cultural divide between homegrown American entrepreneurism and immigrant ambition is being bridged right before our eyes. It's an inspiring moment. Maybe the old men will let me sell oranges with them off the back of their trucks when Max Overdrive closes and I'm homeless again. What's this guy's name again? I asked Vidocq. Mr. Munnin. I nod like the name means something to me. Okay, let's meet him. I want to show my new apprentice a few more things, so we'll do it tonight. It sounds good. I start to leave, but Allegra calls me. How am I supposed to get back if you take the car? You take it. I jimmy the ignition so you can start it with a flathead screwdriver. Vidocq will give you one. Ditch the car at least 10 blocks from the shop. The sound of shots coming through the window, and we all turn. The two crack kids are on the ground in widening pools of blood, and a powder blue Chevy lowrider is speeding away. Oh well, looks like the real estate people say, location, location, location. How will you get back? Asks Allegra. I know a shortcut. I go out onto the hall, step through a shadow next to the door opposite, and come out in an alley behind Max Overdrive. I go in through the back and straight upstairs. The morning crew has cleaned up the place pretty well and taped the front door glass back together reasonably well. Some customers look at me, but I don't look back. In my room, this is my room now, that other place is Vidocq's. I put the box with Alice's things on a shelf in the closet where I'd kept Kasabian's head. I wish he was still here. I put on one of Alice's t-shirts over his head at night, the way old ladies drape parakeet cages. Sleep tight, motherfucker, with my Murder's Girl shirt for a nightcap. I wonder where Parker is taking Kasabian and what he's done with him. Only one thing makes sense. Parker's killed him. After I set off the trap back at Mason's place, he and Parker realized I was back. They checked on the rest of the circle and found Kasabian was gone. Knowing what a rancid little worm he was, Mason would figure that he'd started blathering secrets sooner or later. It would be simpler and easier just to kill him. Sweet dreams, Cass. I might not have killed you, You were just too damn pathetic. Leaving you to your little store and the dreams of the power the others swindled you out of might have been punishment enough. I could have been happy to see you live another 50 years trying to make lemonade out of your misery. I take the little magic box from Alice's things and set it on the table beside the bed. I don't dwell on it, sitting on that crap table in this nowhere room. Let it go. Don't think. It's what you're best at. I picked up the habit of playing movies on the monitor Kasabian used to make his bootlegs. Mostly I watched old Shaw Brothers Chopsaki stuff, Five Deadly Venoms, The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, Dirty Ho, or spaghetti westerns, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Great Silence, Four for the Apocalypse. The sound of fighting, even movie fighting, is weirdly comforting when I'm falling asleep. Something else is playing now, and I don't remember having left the set on. It's Fitzcarraldo, a German movie about a crazy Irishman who tries to drag a riverboat over a mountain in the Amazon. It almost kills him. Is this a message? Did Parker leave this playing for me? After he broke in, why didn't he wait to ambush me? I take the Veritas off its chain and do something I wanted to do last night. I flip the coin and ask, is Doc Kinski for real? When I catch it, the Veritas is showing a symbol it's never displayed before. A colopus. Imagine a flying wolverine covered in porcupine quills, dripping with enough poison to give God himself a sore ass. That's a colopus. Written in Hellion script around the edge of the coin's face is, if assholes had assholes, Kinski is the shit that would come out of that asshole. I've never seen the Veritas say that about anyone before, Hellion, angel, human, or beast. Like every sentient creature in the underworld, the Veritas has strong opinions. Using the coin well means being able to separate facts from its horror show editorials. This is good news. There's only one reason it would hate anyone like that. Kinski is one of the good guys. Okay, time to take the doc's advice. I leave Fitzcarraldo running with the sound off and dig around on the work table until I find a creased AAA map of LA. After I unfold it on the floor, take out the piece of lead the doc gave me and start drawing a magic circle around it. I can't remember any specific locator spells, but the idea is pretty simple, and I know I can fake my way through one. The circle is complex. Hellion magic is always complex. Either that or it's so simple fungus could do it. There's not much in the middle when Hellions are in charge. When it feels like the circle is done, when the map is completely enclosed, and I've loaded in every luck, hunting, and eavesdropping charm I can think of, I reach up for more junk off the table. A piece of string and some foil from a burrito wrapper. I wad up the foil and tie it to the bottom of the string, making a pendulum. Then I take my knife and slice across the palm of my left hand, squeezing hard before the wound closes. I sprinkle blood around and inside the magic circle. Hell doesn't run on prayers and promises. Downtown, magic is about reaching out and grabbing what you want. And that requires payment. An offering. Blood. Black magic on Earth isn't so different. It's why so many dark magicians dress like cashiers at Hot Topic. Black is good color anytime you're flinging around blood. I start chanting, a freeform mix of Hellion and English, ordering whatever lurkers, spirits, magical pinheads, and old forgotten gods who happen to be nearby to turn down the prices right and listen up. Show me where Mason is. I paid you my blood, now give me what I want. I command you. Give me what you owe me. I have the key to all the doors in the universe. You don't want to even dream of cheating me. The foil ball on the end of the string begins to move, making little circles where I hold it over the map. The movement becomes steady and strong, pulling my hand and my whole arm in circles too. Then it stops. The foil slams onto the map like it's magnetized. I pull the pendulum away and look at where it's landed. Just a little north of Hollywood Boulevard in Las Palmas, right on top of Max Overdrive. Cute. I should have seen that one coming. Mason stuck a reversal gag on anyone stupid enough to look for him with magic. On the floor, the map wads itself up and bursts into flame. A lick of fire reaches up like a burning claw and snatches the pendulum from my hand. Both the map and the pendulum disintegrate into ashes and drift away on a breeze blowing in some other part of creation. That was an amateur hour move. Now I know why Parker didn't go for me the night he took Kasabian. Why should he bother? I've proven that I'm dumb enough to walk into a bear trap marked with a big flashing neon sign that says, "Warning, bear trap." I'm a killer who hasn't managed to kill anything, and it must be clear to everyone paying attention that I'm not Sam Spade. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm running on instinct and hunches. Killing is a funny thing. Even if it's killing a Hellion general, one so psychotic that even other Hellions want him dead, the first time you commit murder, you're going to get sicker than you've ever been in your life, and it's going to last for days. The second time you commit murder, you're going to get just as sick, but you're going to be over it the next day. The third time you commit murder, you change into that extra shirt you brought along, the one that's not covered in blood, and you go out for a drink. After that, killing doesn't feel like much of anything at all. Of course, I haven't killed a human yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that when the time comes. Maybe it's not such a bad thing that Alice isn't here to see what I've become. I sit down on the edge of the bed and Pick up the magic box, roll it around in my hands, then set it back on the table. On the TV, some poor Indian has just died hauling Fitzcarraldo's boat over the mountain. The Indian's friends are gathered around his body, but Fitz is screaming for them to keep pulling his boat. He's the hero of the story, and he's completely nuts. This isn't going to have a happy ending. I lie down for a while, trying to get the kinks out of my back, but I'm too restless, so I walk over to the bamboo house of dolls. Carlos says hi, but I just sort of grunt at him. Being a good bartender, Carlos sees all and knows all. He brings me a double of Jack, along with some rice and beans with warm tortillas. Then he leaves me alone. The music isn't Martin Denny tonight, it's someone named Esquivel. It sounds like what James Bond dentist must play in his waiting room. I try to relax, enjoy the food, and let the ludicrous sound wash around me. After 2 or 3 more drinks, Esquivel is really starting to grow on me. When Carlos comes over to take away the empties, I ask, "What about me on a yacht in a white tux? Could I be James Bond's stunt double?" Carlos takes the glasses away before he says, "Only if Bond fell into a wood chipper first." He asks if I want another drink. I tell him I need a cigarette more and go outside and light up. It's around 8, maybe 9. 10's a possibility. Anyway, it's dark out. Time to get back to the docks. I head for an alley across the street where I can slip unseen into a shadow. Halfway there, I spot a Ducati parked down the street. The 20-something hipster TV producers love these sleek Euro racers, but like the Melrose Harley boys, it's mostly for show. The Ducati's tires are clean enough to eat off of. Doesn't anyone in this town actually ride their bikes? It'd be nice to feel some wind on my face. I take out the knife, jam it in the ignition, and I'm gone. I think that's probably a good place to stop for tonight. I've been reading Richard Kadrey's Sandman Slim. So, yeah. I guess that's it. So, this has been good. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you find it relaxing. I do. And then, until tomorrow.